What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it is to talk about some of the transfer rumours that are involving the club. And let's just get started with this. So we are live, interactive and unbroken. Let's talk about Emre. So Emre has taken what I can only advise as a post-season investigation into particularly the last third collapse that we made of our season. After getting ourselves into good positions in the league, getting ourselves into good positions in the European Cup, we absolutely collapsed, and once again, for a third season, we are without Champions League football. And subsequently, it's squeaky bum time if you're an Arsenal fan, because all of us are nervously watching, seeing whether Arsenal can actually do anything and make some moves in the Champions League without Champions League football. And one of the things did worry me, I must admit. He had a face-to-face meeting with every single player after the Europa League final, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, I think that's a good thing. Having said that, after these meetings took place, there were 15-20 minute meetings, and the club actually received those meetings pretty well. You know, it's not every day that you get a manager doing such a thing. It's a pretty different culture shock, you know. And I guess, just like anybody in a job, why shouldn't you be appraised after your year of, or your season? And I know it's an unusual thing to do for a football club, but I think appraisals are part and parcel of anybody's development. You can tell I'm in HR, can't you? So, the one thing that was a bit worrying is that no one was told that they didn't have a future in the club. You know, I think that was an opportunity to be able to just be honest with the players, because that was an opportunity to be able to really say that, you know, that certain things disappointed them. For example, when you think about Henrik Mkhitaryan and the way he absolutely ghosted the business end of the season, that was an opportunity to be able to say, yeah, you're probably not going to be at the club next season. Or Mesut Ozil and his refusal to play away games, that was an opportunity to be able to say, listen, Mesut, your wages are a bit high. As soon as we get an opportunity to sell you, we'll probably sell you. Similarly with Mustafi. I mean, when you just take those three players alone, can you believe that is £640,000 a week in wages? Just those three. Forget about anyone else. Just those three. That's mad. And you know the other mad thing is, I don't care if you're an Ozil fan, a Mkhitaryan fan, heck, even if you're a Mustafi fan. If you're any one of those fans, I guarantee even you think two of these players should go. Even you think that. And the idea that none of them were told that they didn't have a future. In fact, actually, all players were encouraged, in spite of their poor performance this season, worries me a little bit. Initially, when I first... So this is my third take at recording this, because getting an angle on this tablet is real difficult at home. I can get the perfect angle at work. I can't get the perfect angle here. Hence all this fucking space that you see. I'll sort all that out. But I digress. I initially, when I recorded this, I was pretty fucking upset. And then I've calmed down, because I kind of thought, well, everybody was encouraged, everybody was spoken to, everyone was essentially given the same message. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm a fan of doing that approach. I think it would have been better to just be, if you're going to take the time to have individual meetings, then have individual reports for everybody. Don't just give everybody the same type of feedback. Supposedly it was kind of a meeting whereby Emre basically sat down with the players and was told the things that he liked about what they did and the things that he didn't like. I think Emre, in a lot of ways, I do feel sorry for him, and this is where I have calmed down a little bit, because you know, all the reports that you get from Unai Emery about Unai Emery's time at PSG was that he just fell out with big players. He was a disaster. He basically just bullied his way through the dressing room. I flipping saw a story just now about how Di Maria was going to leave PSG if Emery had stayed because he was being frozen out of the team. And when Tuchel came on board, Tuchel made him feel as though he was the main guy. You constantly hear stories, whether it's Ben Arfa or something, some kind of calamity story with Emery. So I think Emery is trying to learn from that. Unfortunately, I think he's doing that at the wrong time. This is the time he does need to be in full chopping block mode and saying, you know what, Mkhitaryan, you weren't good enough. Mesut Ozil, you weren't good enough. Squadron Mustafi, you weren't good enough. Granit Xhaka, you were not good enough. There are a few people he should be saying this to. So yeah, for me, I'm a little bit concerned, but I'm not overreacting as I previously did when I recorded this. So Unai Emery, I guess, conducts his post-mortem exercise. Going into the next story, so Marcus Sherbet, the free signing from Dresden. I talked about this story about a month ago on Eagle Eye, where he was a free transfer, the talented German under-21, good goalkeeper, really good goalkeeper, has his eye on a move, and supposedly we're in talks with him. In fact, not only are we in talks with him, the club are so confident he'll sign, the club have actually started to contact Championship football clubs to move him on. Which, you know, if Arsenal are confident over a signing, maybe we should start planning to get used to seeing Sherbet, or maybe not, if it's being planned for a loan. So I guess that doesn't really affect Martinez's situation. Maybe it's a backup plan in case Martinez doesn't work out. But they do seem to rate Sherbet. The belief and the hope is that Sherbet will step up once he's back from his loan and be real competition for Leno. But I like the sound of this. I like the forward planning of this. Marcus Sherbet looks like he's set to sign with Arsenal. What else was I going to talk to you about? So the other things I was going to quickly talk to you about was the Torreira thing. I think people have now accepted that Torreira wasn't necessarily looking for the exit door. You know, he was just talking about the fact that he's not used to England, so he's not particularly enjoying it. It is worth keeping in mind, people, when you read the quotes about Torreira, that they said the same thing about Santi. They said the same thing about Ospina. They said the same thing about Nacho Monreal. 2 out of 3 of those players are still here, and that third one is regarded as a legend of the football club. So I think what helped in all 3 of those cases was the club employed someone, a translator, but also a teacher, to be able to teach them English. You've already got a translator for Emery. You can't just hook Torreira up a little bit. I mean, England is a culture shock for anyone. I mean, anyone who's been in England this week has seen how dreary the weather is. Literally been all week. It's June. And I genuinely, and I'm not shitting you here, I have a blanket right around me like some sort of old man. It is freezing in here. I refuse to put the heating on for June. I refuse. I am adamant I'm not going to do it. But this is what we're dealing with here. So if you're someone who's come from South America to this cold ass weather, quite honestly, I don't blame him for hating England. I'm not taking it personally. So for me, I think the fact that he is prepared to adapt and he's waiting to adapt, and I do believe Torreira needs to adapt, particularly to the physicality of the league, how often he plays games, because that was another thing he mentioned in this interview, that he's not used to playing games every 3 days. He needs to get used to that. That is the demands of being at a top English club. So I have no worries. I know it was a quote, but it's a quote I'm not particularly worried about. But that's Lucas Torreira. And then just more stuff. There was one encouraging story. And that was Ziyech. So Ziyech has come out, and there is some suggestions that he's said to a couple of people that of all the places he'd welcome a move to, Arsenal would be one of them. He says that realistically, he can only see it happening if Mesut Ozil, who is someone who is his idol, by the way, isn't there. He feels as though realistically it would make more sense if Mesut Ozil isn't there, and he's probably playing a number 10 role. But the fact that the guy is actually open to moving to Arsenal, please make it happen. Please. We could do with someone like this, someone who is so technically good in every department, who's such a good set piece taker. Lord knows we need a damn set piece taker. Someone who can cross the ball, who can dribble the ball, who can shoot from anywhere, who just has some sense to him. Oh, I digress. He's my dream signing for the summer. I'll be honest. The Pepe dream is gone. I've had to replace it with something. Ziyech is that guy for me. He is that guy. So we'll see. Hakim Ziyech is open to a move to Arsenal, supposedly. And last but not least, let me talk about Lee's stream this morning. So anybody who probably caught it is probably wondering from my side where my email address is. Well, that's going to be up on Lee's page in the next half an hour. I've created an email address especially for the channel. And what I'm looking for from my point of view is, me and Lee had a conversation. We speak most days. Sometimes it's about business. Sometimes it's just about general chit chat. And we were both talking about how we both wanted some just a fresh feel to both of our shows. Both of our channels are growing. His at a much more rapid rate, I accept. Let's be real. The guy's on 17.5K. Let's be real. Probably by the time I put this out, it'll be 18K. Who knows? But we both are in different spaces to where we were last year with our channels, and I think a good thing to commemorate it would be to have brand new channel art, brand new intro, and a brand new, rather than an outro, more of an end screen. Now I want to just say straight off the bat, please, I mean this as no disrespect to the Milk Media crew, and in particular the late Tim van der Pump, who sadly passed away last year. He was the one that very, very, very kindly helped me in my intro, helped me in my outro, and helped me put my music on that. And I will never forget him. And if the Milk Media crew want to help me with this, fantastic. I'm not assuming anything. What I'm looking for is just something a bit polished, a bit more smooth. Not saying that Tim's wasn't smooth, but just something, I want to have a real professional kind of look towards this channel. And me and Lee were just very honestly talking about that. And, I think we both kind of thought, I wonder if there's someone out there that listens to us that would be able to help us. And I kind of wanted this to be more of an incentive for you guys. So we're both putting together, or at least I'm putting together a kind of a prize for the person who eventually wins. But we want to kind of create this as a kind of a competition thing. So we're looking for genuine video suggestions. As Lee said this morning, anyone who just makes stupid things in an effort to insult us, or any troll emails are going to get blocked. They ain't even going to get read. They're going to get blocked. We're looking for genuine entries here. So anybody who has any experience with any sort of multimedia platform, or a budding person who just wants to get credit, really. They've not had an opportunity to be able to get their material out there, and they want a little bit of exposure. One thing I will always do is I'll put credit in the description, So literally from now to the end of next season, you will have the credit for my intro, outro, obviously massive plugs and shout outs, and just links and referrals to you, and also a prize that I'll make sure will get shipped over. It would probably be something like the 89 DVD, something a bit of the Arsenal history, or if you're not an Arsenal fan, basically anything that you would like. Within reason, I ain't VP out here, all right? So yeah, so anything that you could possibly do to help, it'll be fantastic for both myself and Lee. My email will be on his channel as the pinned comment, and concurrently, it will also be on in my description below right now, so you can send any entries that you have. Also, the video that in question that I'm talking about will also be in the description below, and he will explain his reasons as to why he wants his intro, outro. I think that pretty much covers everything, guys. So I'm hoping you like this video. Please, 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 please do crush that like button for me. Hit the subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about the channel. And that's pretty much it. I'm out of here, people. Take care. Deuces.